one reason that we went there is because all the news organs seemed to feel like it was going to be so slow anyway.
Ready to go in 5? Okay, Bobby, you go 5, 4, 3, 2.
Well, Paul, Richard, very nice to have a chance to talk with you, because I think this special movie you have, The Burning Bed, is going to be one of the most talked about movies of the current season. And I read, Paul, that 3 years ago they tried to launch this project and no one would touch it. So what has changed, or did the networks change?
Yeah, I think that they opened up in their attitude about these controversial subjects, and primarily due to the films that he has done and some other controversial ones that have had a big impact on the audience. This is a true story. It took place in the 60s and 70s, and there was a book written about it, The Burning Bed, but even Farrah Fawcett, who plays the woman, she couldn't get it done for a while, and you would think that they wouldn't care what the subject matter is as long as they could have her in it, but it was hard to get made, but fortunately it has been.
You play a wife beater. Now, when you were first approached about it, Paul, did you have any hesitancy at all? Because we know how the business is. You play one wife beater, then you get 95 offers to be wife beater.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to play another one. It was too traumatic for me, maybe after a while. But I didn't really hesitate. I was interested in the subject, and as soon as I read the script, I realized that it doesn't focus only on the violence. It also shows the relationship and happier moments. And these two people really loved each other, and it was just unfortunate what happened to them.
Is the profile that you play of the man, is it pretty accurate as far as you know? I
think so. I spoke with some men who are wife batterers and are on probation. I linked with a counselor who, does therapy for them. And he said he uses this case as an example in his therapy because it's so accurate and it portrays all of the elements that come into play in something like this.
And not only that, I think also because it shows the ultimate consequence of wife beating, which is the batterer being murdered by the wife, which is, of course, what happens.
And that's where he comes in because he defends her in court.
Yes, let's talk a little bit about that, because if you want to get very basic, I suppose somebody could make a case by saying that it shouldn't be on television and should not have so much exposure because women having that problem might think this is the way to solve it.
Well, I think it's very clear in the film that this is in no way the way to solve it. This was an act of a woman who was driven to a point beyond which she couldn't go, and hopefully there are not that many women who are in that situation. Hopefully what the film will communicate is that it should never get anywhere near that point, that people should be helped, should get help. There is help available for both the women. There are shelters for battered women where they can go and be counseled in various alternatives, and there are also programs for batterers, and they don't have to be convicted of crimes to get into those programs.
Hopefully that's what the film will do, that it will show people what they don't want to do, and it will lead them to seek help before it happens this way.
See, it's a two-edged problem here, because a lot of people in this country don't think there is a problem, number one, and number two, other people in this country believe that it's an acceptable way to behave. They believe that, in a very archaic way, that a man's home is his castle and he has the right to do whatever he wants to in it. That means if he wants to beat his wife up, he can do it as long as he doesn't take it out onto the street. And if he wants to beat his children or sexually abuse them, he can do that. And we know better than that now, number one. And number two, we're beginning to learn that it's not just a problem in the house. We pay for that problem. We pay for it because we pay for people like Francine Hughes. We pay for her being in jail. We pay for her trial. We pay for the children of these families who very often go on to commit crime, to commit acts of violence against other members of their family. When they become parents, they follow the same pattern. We're all paying for it, and I think that is coming into the public consciousness more and more. Hopefully this will help it.
Paul, where is Francine Hughes today?
I don't know. I think she was in Los Angeles recently, but I don't know where she's living now.
Was she, then she was not a technical consultant to the project?
No?
She was interviewed by the producer
Before,
at
but,
length,
yeah.
and also I think Farrah met with her or talked to her.
But she wasn't around when we were shooting it, no.
How did Farrah react to this, and what was she like?
Well,
She was
first,
wonderful.
yeah, she was great to work with, but she really embraced this role. She wanted to play this for years, and she now had the opportunity, and she put herself into it deeply, and she suffered along with Francine, and she suffered along with me as I suffered with Mickey. It's very painful, but it's also very rewarding, and she's very glad she played the role.
Well, I'm sure that we're all going to find it a tough subject and a tough movie, but by the same token, I'm sure that we're all going to be very, very eager to see it and to see your performances, which I understand are outstanding.
Thanks.
Good.
Yeah.
We hope that
Good to hear.
we hope that as many people as possible get a chance to see it.
Well, thank you both for talking with us today. Nice to meet you both.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Okay, we're clear.
Very nice. Paul Lamette, Richard Masur questions. Paul, was there any hesitancy on your part to take this? Paul, did you have any hesitancy about taking this role of the wife beater? How did it affect you playing this kind of role? As far as you know, is this a pretty accurate portrayal of the man? Three years ago, all the networks turned this down. Now, what changed? How is Farrah Fawcett in this role? Does anybody know why men beat their wives? Some people could make a case that there would be, wait a minute. Some people might fear that people will see this and think that wives in that situation will think this is the solution. Isn't there a fear that some women might see this and think that this is the solution to the problem? Where is Francine Hughes now? Was Francine Hughes a technical consultant to the project?